the chronological order of the book, and we are still doing the chronological order of the book. Everything has to build on itself. Victoria Rader says that each of these laws comes in this particular order, and as you build and you do, so far we have been through the law of gratitude and the law of harvest. Those were chapters 1 and chapter 2. Chapters 1 and 2. So, chapter 3 is the law of tithing. Tithing opens the abundant money flow. Tithing pulls together the law of gratitude and the law of harvest. In essence, you reap what you sow and give from your heart. Tithing opens the abundance for money to flow and involves paying a tenth of your income to charitable causes. You may be familiar with Dave Ramsey. He's a famous American practical financial advisor who has helped hundreds of thousands of people to get out of debt and into financial freedom through a series of very practical steps. I will also mention another book by the late Pamela Irene Young. It's called the Get Out of Debt book. GOOD, just a nice little title. And what she says aligns perfectly well with what I'm reading here so far. You may be familiar with Dave Ramsey. That's a different person. He's a famous American practical financial advisor who has helped hundreds of thousands of people to get out of debt and into financial freedom through a series of very practical steps. When I saw him on stage, one of the things that stood out to me was his experience with the law of tithing. When he was creating some of his financial programs, he had an opportunity to interview a number of millionaires. He discovered there was one practice they all shared. Surprisingly, it was not the way they made their money. Some made it through business, some made it through investments in stocks, others while working a 9 to 5 job. Some capitalized on the inheritance they had, and for some, it was a brilliant patented idea. What was fascinating was not the way they acquired money, it was what they did with their money. These millionaires all lived the law of tithing. They were giving at least a tenth of what they made to charity. There may be a part of you which is saying, well, sure, if I were a millionaire, it would be easy to give away a tenth of my money. But the thing is, Dave Ramsey learned that all of them without exception were following the law of tithing long before they became millionaires. They were tithing even when they were struggling. Tithing opens the gateway for blessings to flow through. Okay, let me put that down. Hold on. Tithing opens the gateway for blessings to flow through. Oh, I did that already. Gee. I need to find that. Hold on a second. I did already place a document where I placed um, all of the subtitles in there. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Prosperity subtitles. There we go. Okay. Tithing opens the gateway for blessings to flow through. Let me see here. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay. Put it right here. Uh-huh. Okay. When I was in my early 20s, my husband Randy and I had just gotten married. We were struggling financially and we were trying to save a down payment for a home. My budget was just $30 a week for groceries, and I was tracking every single cent. We ate a lot of rice and beans back then. If you want to know how to be super healthy on a low budget, just ask. I lived it and I know all the tricks. I had joined a church and they'd introduced me to the concept of tithing. One day, I was at the store trying to decide how best to budget the money I had, and then I realized I hadn't paid our tithing for the month. All the money I had for food equaled what I should have paid in tithes. So I wondered, what do I do? The little voice inside me, that little gut feeling, that still small voice of spirit, capital S, answered, "Let me bless you." Well, that's great, I thought, but what did it mean? Let me bless you. Let me bless you. Pay the tithe first so I can bless you and you can open the windows of heaven. Hi, Dea. I thought about what we had at home, and I remembered that we had bread and cheese, so I could pay the tithe, and we'd live off grilled cheese sandwiches until we ran out of bread and cheese. I had no idea what would happen, but I figured I'd see how God would bless me and what would unfold. I got home, put the money in an envelope, and paid the tithe. Within days, we got a refund for several $100s from our phone company. I have no idea why we got that refund. Okay, this was back when international calls cost $2 a minute, and I was calling my family in Ukraine once a month, but we had budgeted for that, and I did not spend enough time on the phone to qualify for the refund. I still don't know how we got such a big refund when I'm sure we never paid that much. Then we got another check in the mail, a refund from our health insurance provider. All in all, we received about 10 times the amount of what I had to spend on groceries. It might not be a life-changing amount of money, but it was enough to show that when I gave and tithed on what I had, I indeed received 10 times the return. I do not look at tithing as paying back. Rather, I consider it a privilege to be investing forward. I invite you to start tithing, whether it be to a charity you want to support or your local church. Tithing will trigger immense abundance for you because you are literally investing in the source of all abundance. I know you may be feeling some fear about giving away money you may be relying on. I understand you completely. More than once in my life since that day at the grocery store, I have stood at the crossroads of fear of not having enough and still committed to giving. I know the hesitation, but I trust the law. And even more, I trust God, the universal lawmaker. Remember, you need to give more to receive more. Trust that it will come back to you because it surely will. Now you have action steps. Okay, action steps. All right, action steps. All right, there we go. We put it over here, and then we place it, and then we highlight it. All right. Action steps. Start giving a part of your income to a charity you want to support. All right. So I find many people trying to increase their wealth often say, "I will do whatever it takes," describing their aspiration to have what they want. I also find that people will do a multitude of things to create their desires, but are hesitant with the one thing that is actually the answer. Tithing is that whatever Tithing is that whatever it takes principle with money. It might be tempting to skip this chapter, brushing it aside. My only desire for you is to prosper and live abundantly. Tithing opens the door to continued abundance. Start where and how you can right now. Accept your fear through love and have faith in the endless source of all that is. Now, my example is that there was a time when I was actually living out of my car and I had no money except for a little dime in my pocket. And I attended a Christmas Eve midnight mass at the Stanford Catholic Church, the cathedral. I placed the dime in the tithing box on my way out, and the friar said, "Thank you" to me. And myself, I went, and then one second. I need to, okay, make sure that it doesn't fall and turn itself upside down. So, number one, start giving a part of your income to a charity you want to support. What is near and dear to your heart? Who do you want to help? For example, one of the charities I support is St. Jude's Hospital Research. I am passionate about finding a cure for cancer in any way possible, whether it is holistically or through medical research. I also support my dear friend's charity, Path for Her, which helps girls in Ethiopia to get their education. Who will you impact today, opening the windows of abundance to both you and them? Now, I have tried to tithe to a company in Turkey that takes care of dogs. His name is Devran, Devran. Um, Let me get the subtitle here for the next one. Here, all right. Number 2 of the action steps is find a church or a cause to contribute to. It warms my heart tremendously to know that via my small contribution, blending with that of others in my church family, we have supported and sustained those less fortunate by providing them with much needed food, water, shelter, and education. Being a part of a giving community gives an additional sense of belonging and fulfillment. Paying tithe is not a penalty or a punishment. It is a joyful invitation for prosperity. Okay, that was number 2. The number didn't show up apparently. Okay. Okay. Right. Then over here is number 3. Put the number in this time. Uh-oh. There's an extra little. There. All right. Arrow and highlight. There we go. Learning how to do this as we go. Okay. Your ultimate goal is to give away 10% of your net income to charitable causes. I find that often we feel that if we cannot do something perfectly, we don't do it at all. Yes, the law is called the law of tithing because it invites us to invest the full 10%. If you have the faith required, follow through with it and trust completely for true miracles to unfold as you live this law. If your faith is just a seed newly planted and ready to be nourished, start where you can. Start with 1% and increase it by 1 more percent every month. Within 10 months, you will see the magic of the universe having closed the gap for you and having multiplied abundantly. Now, that particular charity that I mentioned has a lot of fakers. So you want to make sure you catch the one that has him on video. And let me see if I can get this here. But be careful. And actually, don't send to a company you're not sure about. You can give to any animal care place, but there are lots of scam artists out there. So you may as well call your local shelter and ask them directly for the information to their local charity fund and do it that way, because you do not want your money to go into a scam if you can help it. Okay? That's my personal feeling. Okay, activation. Once you read this activation for the first time and pause and close your eyes to feel the shift that occurs within, read it again as you are going to practice the law of tithing. Read it just before you write a check or wire your money electronically to support a cause. I'm putting a bookmark in this particular page. Okay? Now the activation is, I now understand, practice, and live the law of tithing. I willingly give and graciously receive. I am prosperous and giving. I am abundant and generous. I got this. I am me. Okay? This is wonderful. I now understand, practice, and live the law of tithing. I willingly give and graciously receive. I am prosperous and giving. I am abundant and generous. I got this. I am me. All right. So that is your chapter 3. You can take notes in the book on that last page after the word activation and after the activation. That way you can, in fact, for this, you can write down the month and time that you gave the donation and how many percent it was. So for me, I will write the name of the charity and then the number of percent, maybe in one digit so far, to the law of tithing. I will try 10% and see. So we'll see. Okie dokie, artichoke. I hope you have a great day. My goal is to inspire you to have a wonderful day. Okay, old Kinderhook. Bye bye.